Okay, so I'll welcome you.
You can do that.
I'm the MC of the call. So hi everyone, welcome to our goal setting session. Now it's a fairly relaxed kind of environment, whether you're on live, and thank you to Danielle and Anne-Marie for being on live with us, or you listen to the recording. Either way, I hope that you get some value out of it and it can start you in your goal setting journey. And we're just going to plant some seeds with you tonight, and we're not expecting you to have it all worked out by the end, but it's going to be a process. So Ross is going to be going through it. So thanks, Ra, for being our presenter.
Not a problem.
Cool. And I know you're really passionate about this topic. You're an avid reader, you're a real researcher. So Ross has always got lots of podcasts and books and all sorts of things. So he's always sharing his knowledge with us. We actually do a weekly book club, Danielle, Anne-Marie and Ross and I. Each week we jump on and we read a book and we have a discussion. So we have some interesting discussions, don't we, Anne-Marie? But we've all grown a lot from it. And, I'm very, very grateful to have, doesn't matter how small or big your accountability group is, it will help you move forward and you will grow as a person to become more confident. You can overcome challenges. I think it's been really an amazing last 12 months for us for sure. So I'm going to hand it over to Ross. I'm going to take some notes. But even Danielle, I know that you said you lost your voice, which is no problems. Just think about some of the answers as you're going along, and then you can go back and look at the slides or watch the recording, and then you can start brainstorming and taking some notes as you go along. Okay. Cool. Over to you, babe.
All right. So we're going to go for about 60 minutes. It's probably going to be less than that, but you put the slide in for 60 minutes and everything. So if both of you don't want to unmute, but you can there's a chat function there, so you could write questions up or something. Especially Danielle, if you lost your voice, you could at least write in the chat and say, hey, whatever the case may be, to make it easier and go from there.
Yeah, definitely feel free to ask questions. Yeah.
All right. So the one thing we need to do is we need to get clear on where you want to go. All right. So that's what really today is about, is getting a clear direction, planting the seeds to work out where you want to be in a period of time from now, whether it's 12. We work on 12 to 18 months to start with. You can plan out for 5 and 10 years, that's fine. But generally, sometimes if we plan out too far in advance, we never achieve any of that. So yes, you want that big, huge goal that's 10 years from now that you've really got to work hard towards. But you need goals that you pretty well are a stretch that you can try and get yourself to achieve in the next 12, 18 months down the track is what you should be knocking off, because then you can actually start to go, hey, I achieved that. It builds confidence so I can step to the next level, whatever that goal actually is. All right. So how do we do that? We need to really treat it just like you do a GPS. You put it into your phone or car, whatever you've got, and you go to Google Maps and you go, hey, I'm here and I want to get to wherever it is. And the first thing we do with that case is we generally say, if I want to get to Bookmark Street, because just pick anything randomly out of the air, I would put in where I am and I'd type into it Bookmark Street in Gympie, and it would tell me it's there, and it would say it's going to take you 10 minutes to get there, 20 minutes to get there, whatever it may be. At the moment, sure, you may not know how to directly go around corners and all that sort of stuff, but you need to know where it is and what am I trying to achieve. Because if I just aimlessly drive somewhere, I'm going to get nowhere and have no clue of the final destination. So you need to know what that is. So how you do that, we've got to really know where you are right now. Absolutely. That's really important, what we're going to get to. All right. And we definitely need to know where I would like to be in that 12 to 18 months time. Super important to understand that. How do we achieve it in the middle? It's going to be life, and life's going to throw things at us in the next 12 months. But if we have that specific point where we want to achieve, when we hit that point of obstacle, life getting in our road, we go, not a drama, it's not a problem. How do I then get back on track to where I want to be? How do you do that? It's through awareness. Awareness is actually the key to everything. You have to absolutely know where I am right now. And it does not matter how bad it is. Sometimes the worse it is, the better, because it gives you a platform to work from.
So does that mean awareness is in, where you are, or you know what you think and what you're reading and who the people are around you? Like, is it
It's all of
what I
that.
watch, what I listen to? Yeah.
Everything. It's starting to be fully aware of where I am right now in this moment. Where am I? And we'll get to some points of that, but where am I? Yeah, exactly what you just said. What do I watch on TV? Do I watch TV? Who do I listen to? Who's around me? Who's influencing me? Do I want to move forward? All of that becomes so, so, so important. All right. If you don't have that level of awareness, you can't actually move forward because you don't realize that you're being influenced the wrong way. And well, because we've had conversations and Anne-Marie's on the call, Anne-Marie knows we heavily talk about turning the television off, definitely not watching the news, and getting rid of that negative thing that's coming into us. So if you look at, take us two, for example, we don't have a normal TV in the house. Doesn't exist. Do not watch TV in that respect. Sure, we've got Netflix. Sure, we've got Disney. We watch those things, but
What
we
about
YouTube, but we don't watch free to air TV. We do not get bombarded with any ads. We do not get bombarded with any drama of normal television in any way, shape, or form. That was awareness we're very much aware of. The girls in the house can't even do that because there's not even an aerial plugged into the TV sets.
Yeah, I think though, even saying that, like Facebook and things, social media does have a fair bit of drama on it, but it's up to you whether you kind of jump into that, I think.
Yeah, so it's being aware of those sort of things. And not saying you can't do it, but it's being aware of how it may affect you. And the other thing I want to talk about before I flip to the next slide is personal development. I feel it's cringy. I don't like it.
The word,
The word.
The word.
The word personal development, I always found, especially people around me, you talk about it, they go, oh, I don't want to do personal development. Why do I want to do PD? It's terrible because the reality of it is I'm 56 years of age. I'm already developed. Why would I want to personally develop? What I actually want to do is I want to do personal improvement. I want to improve. I'm already developed. I want to do personal improvement. And when you flip that in your brain a little bit, you start to recognize that it doesn't matter where I am, I can just get a little bit better every day. No matter how bad I am or how good I am, I can improve. It gives me the opportunity that doesn't matter what's going on in my life, I can improve from that. I can step back with my awareness and go, okay, made some mistakes, been married before, all these things have happened, not a problem. Where am I right now? How do I improve? And one of the ones, good one would be, and we'll get to, is how much do you read? Do you read at all? And if you don't, it's okay. But how do I start?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I don't think I was really reading at all. Like I would barely, I know we were doing book club and I was always behind.
You what?
I was always
You what?
behind.
Oh, right.
I'd read like 1 or 2 pages out of the chapter, if any, and I kind of got annoyed with myself. I got a bit peed off, and I went, right, what am I going to do about this? So I started reading on Facebook Lives, and I was scared to go live on Facebook, so I made myself go live and read while and I do trip up on words and things like that sometimes, but it got me reading every day. Got me over my fear of going live, and so now I'm super consistent. So I might not be on every single night, but I'm on most nights, and it's actually made a huge difference to where I'm actually ahead of schedule with our book club. So whatever chapter we're up to, even though you like us to read it beforehand, it's definitely that made a huge difference for me.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're doing a book club. You should have at least read the chapter of what we're talking about before we discuss it. Otherwise, we might as well be not discussing anything.
And there are only little chapters in this book too.
So how did I get better at that? Because I really struggle with reading. I'm definitely not the fastest reader in the sun. To put it out there, sometimes it can take me an hour to read 20 pages in a book. I am definitely not super fast.
Well, didn't you say you'd read a page and then you would never remember what it was?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's taken some time to develop. Again, improvement, right? I just improved. How do you do that? I heard something once that really stuck with me. You have to make a commitment to read every day. How do you do that? My only commitment I initially made, which works, is I pick a book up, whatever book it is. I'll grab, say, these two that are behind me.
All right.
Yep. pick a book up, and all of my only commitment is to read the first word of whatever I'm up to. So whatever I'm up to, but if I start with, my only commitment is read the first word. That's it. That's all I have to do today is read the first word. Now, admittedly, when you read a word, you generally read the sentence and you might read the paragraph and you might read the page. But only commitment is I only have to do for the day, no matter how busy I am, is to read the word. And you start that habit only. The smallest possible habit of how to do something that's how you make a change. That's the only commitment. Now, say take this book. I just counted it before. I've actually read this book 30 times. I read it 30 times straight because I wanted to do something which was about change your paradigm, which was change your life. Because I watched a podcast and really started to make some differences.
You have to put it in the camera.
Sorry, so they can't see it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying read this book either, but I'm just saying that's where it started from. And then I've read other things. Like I just said, I'm not the fastest reader under the sun. I'm currently just finished Jimmy Quick's book on Limitless. And there's a test inside the book because it's actually on Limitless. It's on reading, it's on brain, it's on lots of other things.
It's on memory as well.
Memory, because he was classed as the boy with the broken brain and he had to redevelop. There was a test in there how fast the average person reads between 150 to 250 words a minute. I worked it out when I did it. I was reading at about 170, 177. That was my average until I did his example. And like all of us, we do things and we don't follow through because his examples, it tells you if you did 4 minutes of this every day, you'd actually get faster. And when I did the second test and he taught you how to read faster, it worked out. I was reading at over 280 words a minute by just doing it once.
What's the key to reading faster?
The key to read faster is because the problem with all of us, we were all taught using I know we should be doing goal setting here. We're all taught when we went to school, we were all taught to read out loud. Because we read out loud, when we read a book, we read like we're taught saying it out loud, but we talk it to ourselves. And that's what slows us down. Is you've got to just read the words, but not actually say the words. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's a technique that forces you to read faster.
Okay.
So, right. It's not easy because your brain's trying to question it, but as you do it more, you actually pick your pace up.
Because I don't know how fast I read. I've never.
There is a process on how to work it out.
Have you done it, Anne-Marie? I haven't done it, no. Okay, we'll have to do it just out of curiosity in the next couple of weeks to work out how fast we can read.
Yeah, if you ever do it, you should do it on a book that's very easy to read too, by the way. You don't do it on something that you're going to stumble over words and it's got hard content in it because it makes it harder. You just want to pick an easy thing to read when you do the test.
Okay, cool.
So that's what we want to do to start with, just trying to get a little bit better every day. All right, so now we're going to do that self-assessment. So what I want you to do is there's 7 points. So I want you to rate each point of how you feel you are now between 1 and 10. 1 being, I don't feel real great about it. I'm probably the worst I could be. And 10 being, I'm excellent at it. Now, reality of it is we probably shouldn't put 10s because we're all trying to improve. So I'm not saying you can't have a 10, but in reality. So as we just go through each one slowly, grab a bit of paper.
So you can just do this in your head, Danielle, and then you can go back and watch it and you can write notes and expand on it. So this will just get your mind thinking about it, which is kind of what we started doing. Because just so you know, we did the principles 2 and 3 in the Jack Canfield's book, which is what a lot of this came from. And we got to the chapter and I had started it. You hadn't done it. Anne-Marie hadn't done it. So we sat for a few weeks until everyone had done it. And we really just made it as simple as possible, doing some of these techniques to where we all started to do it. And it actually made a huge difference, didn't it?
Yeah. So the biggest thing with this is you don't have to tell anyone else. Keep it to yourself if you choose to. You can say where you feel you are. The biggest thing is to be as honest as you can with yourself, how you honestly feel in each one of these categories or points. Remember, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Okay.
All right. So first one's financial. So where do you feel you are financially in your life, in your situation at the moment? Right. Two is career. So career could be job, study. Business, study, whatever it may be, whatever you choose it to be.
So can I just clarify that?
Yeah, of course.
In enjoying what you do or happy with the income that brings in because you've got financial.
However you want to rate it, I suppose. Are you in the career that you want to be in? Are you in the job you want to be in? Is it financially satisfactory of a career that you want to be in? However you want to look at it, because you know yourself, it's if it's a 9 or a 10, it's what you love. If it's I really hate what I do, it's a 2, right? And I really want a different career, or I want a different income, or whatever that may be. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 is free time. So that could be things about whatever you choose to do. Do you have free time? Do you relax? Do you have hobbies? However you want to expand? I'm going to give you a little bit of expand a list in a minute, but I'm just trying to get you to understand this to start with. So where do you see you with free time? Do you have it? Do people try and take all your free time from you? Do you get to do what you want to do sometime on a weekend or once a week or whatever it may be? Do you play a sport specifically that you want to do? Where's that situated?
I think I've got a lot of free time, but I think sometimes I could use it better, or I could do more with it.
Sure.
That's how I feel. I think it could actually be more structured. I think if I structured my free time into my days and weeks and months, then I would go, great, this is what I'm going to do then. So that's probably what I'm going to change this year.
Okay.
But that could be like, was that like holidays and
whatever you want to, however you
learning a language or an instrument or something?
No, this is school later down.
Okay.
This is however you want to assess it. And I'll give you a little bit expanded version. So physical health, you know what I mean? Is your weight where you want it to be? Are you happy with illnesses, whatever you want to call it? How do you feel where that's concerned?
Okay.
Are you peak of your functionality, or could you improve?
I definitely think that I could be a bit more disciplined in being more physically active, because it's very easy for me to do stuff at the computer and drawing. Yeah, so like if I'm sitting a lot, and I think sometimes that in me, and I think I don't know, I'm not sure how old you are, Danielle, but I know Anne-Marie's in her 50s as well. That I have a few more like aches and pains and achy bits, so I think that being stretching more. So I actually did some stretches, I did some core work. I started fresh today, and it's like, right, just do the blooming stuff. But I feel like I could be a little bit more physically active personally. I know I go walking groups and everything, but there's I think it's what I do in between that could make a difference. So anyway, that's how I feel.
So 5 is relationship. Now that could be with partner. It also could be with yourself. How do you feel when you're by yourself?
It could also be your friendships,
all that,
your team, your clients.
Yeah, all that.
I think there's always room for improvement.
Yep.
I think, learning to love ourselves and honor ourselves is a huge thing, and especially with women, sometimes we'll put that last. So I think we have to honor ourselves and make sure the relationship with ourselves is something that we're continually working on, and put ourselves in environments that are good for us. But okay, not sure how to. I think I might just individualize them. I might put with myself. I think I've got a better relationship with myself than I probably have. And I think if we hadn't have done all this reading, like with Anne-Marie and Ross over the last 12 months, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have grown so much and overcome a lot of those guilt and challenges and that sort of thing as well. So, okay, I'm going to put.
Well, I'll throw one out while we're sitting on relationships, because it's obviously being recorded. So you think of a relationship like a tennis match. If you're playing singles, you're hitting the ball back and forth as you're trying to compete against each other, and you shouldn't be doing that, however your relationship is. But if you're playing doubles, you're on the same side of the net, side by side, working together to technically win against whoever the opponent is. All right. So you can think of a relationship that way at times. So your relationship shouldn't be singles. We shouldn't be bouncing back and forth trying to beat each other and competing. You should be working on the same side of the net. Who's better at forehand? Who's better at backhand? And supporting each other.
Well,
That's where a relationship.
you're very competitive, so that can make it hard
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, oh yeah, because I am.
You don't need to compete against me, babe.
I know, and it's something that I've had to learn with relationships concerned, because you're always probably playing singles a lot of the time until I heard that.
Yeah.
You're always belting the ball back and forth across the net. Who's got it? And I'm belting it back. It shouldn't be that.
I do think that there's some friendships like that sometimes where you feel someone's a bit more competitive, like the relationship's quite competitive, and there's nothing wrong when it's healthy, but sometimes it can be if someone's undermining you or something.
We
So
should be competitive, but on the same side,
Yeah.
working for the same goal or the same objective.
yeah, okay.
Right. Personal improvement. So that personal improvement is: do you read? Do you listen to podcasts? Are you trying to improve cooking? Are you whatever that may be? You know what I mean? What is a skill that you're trying to do? Are you trying to go back? I'm not saying you have to go back to study and go into that, but what are you doing yourself? If you're on the call to start with, you're trying to do personal improvement. If you're here or you're listening to this, you're trying to do personal improvement. So you're already ahead of majority of the rest.
Study doesn't have to be uni though. Like
No,
I've just been studying AI and just found a really awesome app for AI for network marketing, which is amazing. And
so that's personal improvement.
Yeah.
So it's not study, but you're improving because you've found something that I'm not the greatest skill at. And what am I doing to improve myself in that category? Right.
Yeah.
And if I'm a 1 in that area, it means I'm not doing anything. And then what could I be doing to find something that I could just step that little bit better at?
So it could be learning a language.
Yeah, any of that.
Going to Toastmasters, volunteering and something where you could give back.
Yep.
You could learn an musical instrument.
If that's what you wanted to
I've
do.
got that guitar sitting in the other room. This is the year I'm going to learn how to play the darn thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Is this the year I get by headphones?
I don't know. I think I'll be good. I'll be able to write little songs. I can sing to everyone on the next session.
Sure.
No, everyone can with their headphones, but yeah, I like that idea, and I do feel that what we've been doing has been amazing for us to. I feel like we've all grown a lot because of this, small group has actually made a huge difference. And I did read somewhere that is it 4% of the population, only 4% writes goals and does personal improvement, something like this.
That's right.
So we're already.
You're afraid of another 96.
Yeah, like you're already ahead of the curve because you actually placed yourself in an environment like this, basically.
Yep. And the last one is community. So community, what are you doing to give back? But giving back sometimes doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't even have to be going and volunteering anywhere. Community could be, what am I doing to help someone else improve? Because it's exactly what it is. It's helping one other person at a time. Because if you just help one other person improve and that person goes and helps another person and we all help just one person at a time, you actually change the world.
I think that sometimes we feel, you can compare to other people and it's like, oh, they're giving all this money or they're doing all this, but it could be as simple as you posting a positive quote on your timeline that just helps someone's day, or just checking in with someone and saying, how are you going? How are you doing? Or I've got clothing sometimes that I'll give away and things like that. It could be the simplest of things. If you've got extra food, or I know our passion fruit vine is about to go cray, like they're all there ready and they'll all ripen at the same time. And I'll be giving passion fruit away at the center and here at home for weeks probably. So it could be something so simple like that. And I think sometimes we think it has to be something huge, but it really doesn't. No. But that was good being able to do that. I don't think I'd rated myself for a while.
So there's same thing, but an expanded version of, so you can, if you want to take a photograph, screenshot, so you can think about, okay.
I'll send you a copy as well.
It's financial cash flow. It's free time, hobbies, social, So there's a little bit of another version of it, but expanded out that you can think of it. Oh, I didn't think of it being that way.
Yeah, and it can be extra words too, because I think you had for cash flow, you had
net worth.
Net worth.
So net worth is something that you can think about. It might be financial, but net worth could be, am I in a positive or a negative net worth? And the best way to explain that would be, if I've got no savings in the bank, for example, I'm not saying no one's got savings in the bank, but if I've got no savings in the bank, but I've got a $5,000 credit card debt, I'm actually have a negative net worth. Well, an objective could be going forward, how do I get my net worth to at least zero to start with and have no credit card debt? That could be a perfect advantage to move forward, for example, right? And then how do I get that no credit card, and have cash and have savings in the bank. What do I need to do to move in those directions? All right. So we've got a question. Look, the big question is, what's stopping you? What's stopping you moving forward? It's a question you've got to ask as part of the awareness. What is the big question of if no, you've written things down, your sixes basically on your sheet. There are fives and sixes and sevens.
Yeah, well, no, what's interesting, do you mind me just saying that most of them are fives or sixes, but the one place where my career, I put in enjoyment and challenge is definitely a 9. Like I love what I do, like and it's taken a while to build it to that. But the challenge as well, I know that I can challenge myself in this profession and in the business I'm in. So I feel like that's super high. But I also know that when it comes to the income that I could bring in from it, I put it at a 5 because I know I can improve so much more on that.
So the question is what's stopping you, and why aren't you a 9 in every one of the categories? So the way you answer that is, I would achieve if I, however you want to answer. So it could be.
So I'd achieve a 10 or a 9 in my income if I
didn't scroll on Facebook all day and just lose myself in watching Facebook and not going anywhere. Could be an answer, right? Doesn't be the right answer, but it could be an answer, right? I'd have more free time if I didn't pick my phone up and go, oh, reels, reel. Shit, I didn't realize an hour went past. I know that's what we all tend to do if we're not careful, right? I would achieve it if I actually picked the book up. If I, instead of watching, I watched Netflix today. Instead of going and watching Netflix, I read more of a book. You know, what would I achieve if I did this or did this, right? What would I achieve if I want to improve my health, if I just put my shoes on and just walk around the block? Don't have to go for a run, don't have to go to the gym, but what if I just walk around the block, right? And then what if I actually was already walking around the block? What if I actually walk around 2 blocks? Whatever it may be,
Or what if I got someone to check in on me each day, an accountability buddy that checked in to make sure I did that exercise, or I read that book, or I, ate that meal, or whatever it might be.
Whatever it is.
And I think that's why I do like the 10-day challenges, because in that community we're checking in on each other on a daily basis, and it's just really handy. And we also have an accountability group for our business where we're checking in too. And I feel like if we can do this monthly, once we start this process, and you want to check in monthly to see, I might have been just choose one thing out of the 7, and then I'm going to work on that particular thing this year to make it better. And can I check in with someone and make sure that I'm heading in the right direction? And if I'm not, what can I do about it?
Yeah. So that's a big question. That's probably not simple to answer, but it's something you should start to think about. And doesn't mean you're going to do it, because I can tell you, we all start things and stop, start things and stop, start things and stop. And that could be if I was a bit more consistent, maybe I'd achieve things. So what stops us? This is a generalization of what actually stops most of us from moving forward. So there's just a few examples. It's our doubts and fears. We're afraid. We are afraid. Whether we like it or not, we're afraid. And we have doubts. We don't feel we're good enough. We're not clever enough. We're not smart enough. We're not good looking enough. We're not strong enough. We're not whatever it is. Throws doubts and fears into our brains. And I get that. All right. Inconsistent. Big one. Right. It's one of probably the biggest ones. We'll start something and we'll say we're going to read. We'll read for 2 days, and then a week can go by or a month can go by and go, shit, I didn't actually finish reading the book, or I didn't pick whatever it may be. We're inconsistent in our approach to things.
Yeah.
Right? And
I would agree with that.
And we just got to be, this is about awareness. And once you become aware of it, you go, okay, it's not about shame or guilt. So it's no shame, no guilt. How do I get a little bit better at it? How do I recognize it to start with? Because that's the first thing. Because if you are not aware of it, you can't improve.
So if I got like 1% more consistent every single week, well, by the end of the year, I'd be
37% better.
That's cool. I wouldn't have known that, but you know what I mean.
Yes. If you do the maths properly, it's if you understand this, if you improve by 1% every day, at the end of 12 months, 365 days, you are 37 point whatever it is percent better. If you improve by 1% every day, by the time you get to the other end, you are basically at 0. That's the two ends of the scale. It's quite scary when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
So we just want to get a little bit better. That's it. Just a little bit better every day. We lack focus, and we definitely do. We're very focused on scrolling on Facebook, but we lack the ability to put the thing down. Focus is one of the things that I read in that book on Limitless that we really struggle with. Our brains, even if you're reading a book, for example, and you have other books around you, you tend to look at those books and you are not focused on the page. If you are reading a book and your mind wanders, it's because you're not focusing on what's in the book, because you're not focused on what's going on. We lack focus a lot, and we lack focus because we live in a technology world that keeps dragging it. And the ting on the phone drags you in a different direction all the time.
I know you said that you don't like time blocking, but I must admit last year, last 12 months, I started time blocking where I just set the alarm for 15-minute blocks. Anne-Marie did some of this with, we did it, didn't we, when we did some power sessions. And then you just have that one task, like I'm just going to wish everyone happy birthday on Facebook for that 15 minutes, or I'm just going to reply to all the people that commented, or I'm going to go back to my Facebook memories and like a couple and comment on them so they come into my feed again, or whatever it might be, like whatever task I set for myself. Go into Messenger and see who's messaged me and I didn't continue the conversation and I need to get back to those people. So, and I just do it for 15 minutes. When the alarm goes off, I take a break and then I come back and I do it again. And that way I can focus for 15 minutes. I've found it's made a huge difference for me. It works really, really well.
Yeah. And the reason I don't like it is because Shellie likes 15-minute blocks. It's fine. I'm one of these people that I like to get into what I would call a flow state. And to get into, most people get into a flow state takes over 20 minutes before you're actually inside it. And if you get distracted inside it, it takes 20 minutes to get back into it. So I like doing things knowing that I've got about an hour to 2 hours. I get more achieved knowing that I've got 2 hours up my sleeve or an hour up my sleeve, because then I don't have to worry about if I'm being dragged away, because I know I can take up to 20 minutes to get back into a flow of being consistent and doing the work. So we're all different.
Oh, for sure.
We're all different. So we lack confidence, definitely. You know what I mean? We definitely do in lots of things. If I said to each one of the people on the screen right now, tomorrow you got to get up on stage and talk, we'd all crumble in a heartbeat, more than likely, if we had to get in front of people, because we lack the confidence to do it. So we all lack confidence in some way, shape, or form. Some people love it, but we all lack confidence in some way, shape, or form. We have old programming, life, how we got where we are today. That development that I said that I don't work personal development, well, we're developed to here, but we developed through programming of parents, teachers, life, circumstances. It's the program that's in our head, and we have to find ways to understand that.
I think if I'm looking at my old programming, because I grew up on a farm and there was always a lot of struggle, definitely lack of money. There was a lot of arguments about money, and there was always a lot of stress about not enough money. Even though we had, sheep and animals and things that you could eat, and growing our own veggies and stuff, there was often a lot to do with that sort of lack and the struggle and the little Aussie battler. And that kind of got a lot of sympathy sometimes, I could see, but it didn't serve us, like it wasn't helpful. So I realized that by playing small and having that lack and thinking that it was never enough, I took that into my 20s and 30s, and I had to overcome that because it actually affected how I handled money.
Yep.
So money would just kind of fall through my hands, and I had to really work on that. So yes, I have been definitely working on how my relationship with money in this last 12 months, which I know Ross and Anne-Marie have seen those changes. And I do think it's made a big difference. We're a lot more organized, a lot more grateful about money and appreciate it more, and can utilize it. So I think that's been a huge change.
So excuses, it's normally the biggest one. We say, I can't because of, because of all the things that are above that. All right. We have habits. We have some of those bad habits. It could just be a factor of whatever it is. I've got a habit because after every night we go and sit down and watch TV. It's a habit. Doesn't necessarily have to do it, but it's a habit, whatever it may be.
Having to have dessert. Having
to have dessert is a habit. Doesn't mean I necessarily need it, but because I've lived in a world where you ate your, meat and 2 veg, whatever on your plate, and after that you went and got your ice cream. It's just a habit. That's what it is, and I look forward to it every night. Not ice cream, but
some people have habits of spending everything they make.
Yeah, all that, whatever it is.
I know when I was working at Telstra, I'd get paid on a Wednesday and whatever my wage was. And by the end of that day, I'd have, I'd pretty much spent everything. So I had to get into the habit of saving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously lack of skill, which obviously, I mean, I get that definitely stops us because we have to improve in certain areas, whatever it may be. There may be areas, definitely, and that's probably the one that's actually the most honest one, that we need to improve on. The rest are programs and things that we can change, but lack of skill is just learning and understanding that we have to grow to move forward and go from there.
I think there's so many podcasts and
there's
videos on YouTube that you could watch to learn how to do anything. Like I wanted to take better photos on my phone, so I started looking to see how, because I've got a Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, so it's a certain phone. So I had to go and look to find what settings I could change to take better photos.
Yeah. So we really have no excuse in today to have a lack of skill other than the time to go and do the research. And we live in a world where we have laptops and phones around us that we can look at anything and everything, whether you're going to get an honest answer or not, but you do have the ability to look up so many YouTube videos and try to find something, or for example, of how to improve and do that. There's so much stuff out there. You want to build anything, I mean, whether you may be licensed to do it or not, but you can pretty well look up, that's how that's fixed, that's how that's done. So absolutely can improve yourself.
But you and Anne-Marie love Lego. So Anne-Marie, I know you watch a lot of Lego things. So technically you could use all the spare pieces that you have that
you could.
And you could actually research and build something completely
different
unique
with that.
if you wanted to.
Yep.
So
cool. So what we need to do now is exactly the same thing as we did before, but we want to write down a number on financial. So start there with that one, where I want to be in 12 or 18 months time. It doesn't matter what the first number you write. And in all honesty, I would prefer you to be honest here and we'll stick with financial. Let's say financial was Shellie wrote 5. You don't really want to write that I want to be a 9 or a 10 because it may be unrealistic. And if it's unrealistic, I can tell you your brain's going to go, you're lying and will not achieve it. Your brain will tell you you are lying off through your teeth and you are wasting your time. And why you're doing this, you're better off to go, unless you know you can, you're better off to go, hey, I'm a 5. How do I get to a 7? How do I get to an 8? Whatever it may be. It might even be, how do I just get to a 6 from a 5 to a 6? Now, I don't want you to have it too low, but I also don't want you to have it too high. You need to find that little, 3 bears, the just right, in the middle, that's probably a little bit of a stretch above what you could achieve, but not so unrealistic that you just basically have said to yourself, I know I won't achieve it, so I'll put a number down that's so damn high that I just won't get there. Work, career, business, same deal. Maybe.
Could you do instead 12 months, in 3 to 6 months, I'm going to move one number up?
Do that as one, yeah.
Because
you think about the GPS at the beginning. You just don't drive in a straight line from point A to we call it Bookmark Street. You don't just go in a straight line. You're going to go around corners. So maybe the corner is, hey, I'm a 5, and in 3 months' time, I want to be at a 6. And 3 months from there, I want to be at a 7. And then 3 months from there, I want to be at a 7.5, maybe. Right? You could do that as well. Right? But it really comes down to you need to figure out what that is. So if you think about financial cash flow or net worth, it's difficult. Financial is difficult. We all have an issue with money, but it's also quite simple. We all struggle to do anything about it. So a good example is if we all looked around every one of our houses, we would have something that we could ultimately go and sell on a community group or on eBay or whatever. We would have something. I'm not saying you'd have lots, but you'd have something you could go, hey, look, we know in this house, there's so much stuff that we haven't touched for, how long have we been here? 6 years, 5 years? That I know there's stuff under the house stored that we put there when we got here that we haven't opened. There'd be something in there that somebody might want that I could sell. So I'm not saying you can't get financial, and I'm not saying it's going to solve all your issues, but what I'm trying to get at is don't look at it as though it's not possible. That you have to get this awareness going and go, there could be a way, right? There could be a way to sell some stuff.
Well, I just spent a day playing with the girls, Monster High and Ever After High dolls, and putting them all into bags and of the outfits and everything because the girls want to sell them. But
And
yeah,
then you look the prices up, and they're anywhere between what, $15 and $20, won't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like secondhand.
Yeah. So it's not to say you might get $15 or $20 for it, but you said what, there's $90?
There's 20.
$20. And even if you only got $10 worth, you just got an extra $200 you didn't have.
Yeah.
If financial's an issue. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to, it's trying to get this awareness going to think about what I could do.
Yeah.
Right. And then what could I do with that $200? Right. Everybody's different. Everybody has, you know what I mean, wherever they go from it. So you want you to go through with, you 1 to 7 again, where you would like to be in 12 or 18 months' time. Right. I'm not asking you to be somewhere in 10 years' time. And if you use the 10-year analogy as a good example, is we all overestimate what we can achieve in 12 months, and we massively underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years. Flip that even shorter, we overestimate what we could get done in the next month, and we underestimate what, if we started today, what I could actually get done in 12 months' time from you. So they both have expansions on each other.
Wasn't it that thing? What would you take $1 million now or $1 doubled each day for 30 days?
I would take $1 doubled every day for 30 days because I know what it adds up to be.
So $1 doubled every day for 30 days is 5 million and something.
Some crazy figure by the time, and it doesn't happen towards almost to the end.
Yeah. So sometimes it's just knowing that compounding effort of doing something every single day, like taking a shake in your tabs every day, drinking your 2 or 3 liters of water every day, going for a walk, reading a page or
reading a page, listening to it, going down the podcast route, find something that you like, listening to something, because that goes, wow, that was interesting. Because most of the books I've got are because I listen to podcasts, and I started off with somebody 4 years ago that I don't listen to now, that moved me from there to there to there to there, that I listen to these certain people a lot at the moment, right? And bought books and moved in that direction. But if I hadn't have started, I would never have understood of where we are today, right?
So I've written my note. Have you done your numbers or thought about, have you done those yet, Anne-Marie? Or you're going to work on them as you go? Yep. Cool. And Danny, I'll just think about in your mind of where you feel like, even if you just pick one thing on that list and think, where would I like it to be in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months? That's what I would do. And you can expand on this as you go, and we can get together and have a Zoom in the next week or so and go through it together.
Yeah, because remember, it's in personal improvement. Everything's about improving. It's about moving the marker from where you are today, honest where I am today. How do I move it slightly forward? And when I get to that point, I make another awareness, and then how do I move it forward? And then I get another awareness, and how do I move it forward? That's what I'm trying to achieve.
Cool.
All right. So from there, once you know all that, you got to work out some specific details. How am I going to get from my financial or my health or my whatever it is to where I am? And what do I really want, right? Because if you said to me, I want more money. Well, if I went and got an envelope right now and put 5 cents in it and posted it to you, you just got more money, right? You got 5 cents.
I don't want 5 cents.
But you just got more money because you told me you want more money. I gave you 5 cents. So you got more money. You can't say you didn't get what you want. So you need to find a way to say, hey, I don't want to have a credit card debt, or I want to have an extra whatever. I want an income of whatever the case may be. And you can make that as expansive as you choose to be, or as controlled as you choose to be. That is individually specific from there, right?
So you could say, I just want an extra $200 at the end of each month spare to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Or I really want to hit, $10,000 a month by the end of the year, or whatever it might be.
Or you might have 2 goals in between that. You might have the 10-year goal, which I believe we should all have. You should have a goal that's so scary, so impossible, you're never going to achieve it in your brain. That's so out there, because at least it starts you working in that direction. And then you should have one that you believe in your head is achievable. It's a stretch from where you are, but it's achievable, right? Because the longer one starts to pull you in that direction, but the achievable one hits your marker point. And when you hit that marker point, whether it's 12 months, 3 months, 18 months from now, you do it again and you do it again, and that's how you drag yourself forward.
And I think it's a bit like having the 10-day challenges, because each 10 days we do 2 a month. Well, then each month you're getting a step closer towards where you want to be. And I actually chose this picture on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Because I hope you're finding some of these visuals really inspiring, because I love pictures like this. I'd love to be in that boat in the lake. But you know, it's obviously a boat on a lake, but if you really look at all the details in it, you can see the reflection, and then you can look at the boat, and then you see the oars, and then you can see the trees, and then you can see the rocks. And so if you're looking at it, you might see the picture, but then you can look into all the details in the picture. Well, your goal has to be the same. You might have a goal, but then you need to get into all those specific details.
Well, you talk 10-day challenges as an example. So people get, let's say you may want to achieve more than this, but let's say your 12-month goal is to lose 5 kilos. It's quite simple. I only have to work on an average of losing 100 grams. That's it, 100 grams a week. And I lose 5 kilos within 12 months. It's as simple as that. If I lose 200 grams a week, I lose 10 kilos in 12 months. I don't have to use tremendous amounts in the first week. I just have to know that and understand that I'm specifically moving forward because this is what I want to achieve. So how do we do this? You need to grab a piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper and rule a line down the middle, whichever way you want to do it, right? Okay. And then on the right-hand side of the page, you want to write down everything you want in detail. All right. That's what you want to do. Now, some people, Shelley's probably quite good at it, can clearly say, yeah, I want this, da, 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 da. I want the new car. I want this. I want the color. I want this. I get that. Some people struggle where this is concerned. And this is what stops people doing goal setting half the time. They sit there and go blank because they don't really know what they want. They really don't. They haven't had the time initially to think about it, so they don't have a clue what they want. We most of us live day to day to day to day and sit here in 5 years' time and go, why does life feel the same as what it did 5 years ago? It's because we never sat down and go, what do I really want? And a lot of the time we don't even know what that is. And how you fix it is you actually do the opposite. You need to write everything down you don't want because your brain will do it on the spot.
I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be broke.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I don't want to be lonely.
we have a negative mind because our mind is trying to keep us safe.
I don't want to be stressed.
All that. That's right. We can do all the negative like that. Bang, 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 bang out of our head, which is fine. So you just write down what you don't want and let it run and let it blur out of you on paper as much as you want. And then when you've done that, you stop and look at it and go, what's the opposite? So if it's financial, I don't want to be, we talked about $5,000 credit card. I don't want to be $5,000 in credit card in debt. Sweet. What do I want? Well, I want to have no credit card debt is what I want. It's actually that simple, but we don't look at it that way. All right. If it's career or job, I am sick of my boss at work and he tells me off every day and I really hate the way he treats me and I hate the people that work around, whatever it is. Actually, I want a new career. All right. I don't know what the career is yet, but actually I would like to do blah, 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 blah. That's how you start it. All right. It's not about being negative. It's about allowing your brain to throw out all the things that you don't want and then having the time to sit there and go, well, if I don't want that, what do I want?
Well, it's like the opposite,
The
opposite day. So and I think that's an easy one because most people find it easy to be negative. So therefore, because it's ingrained in us, like with our reptilian brain. So you could just write down what you don't want, and then you write the opposite.
Yeah, you've got to write the opposite, otherwise you're not going to get there. But you need to write it down to start with. Now, look, if you were one of these people that is watching this and you know exactly what you want, great, go for it. Stay on the right-hand side of the page. Stay on the blue side. Absolutely. Just write exactly what you want in as much detail as you want and go for it. But like Shellie said earlier, we did an exercise where we had to write in detail what we wanted to achieve in whatever period of time, and that was part of the exercise in the book that we did. And we all struggled with it, all right? And it took us time to sit down and figure that out, all right, what we actually and how we were going to do that, right? But once we did this, it started to flow, right? Anne-Marie, Shellie, and I all did it differently. Shellie wrote it in point form, which is fine.
I like bullet points, so that works well for me, and then I can expand on it.
Yep.
And then I look for pictures of things that inspire me and I print them out.
Yeah, because again, we're all different on how we do stuff, right?
Yep.
I had to sit and think, and then once I let my brain unload, basically, I was just able to write it in detail straight off the page, right? Bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, right? And I didn't do them all in one go. I sat the first day and wrote financial, and just I found a quiet moment when I got up early and said, "There's no one around me today," and I wrote the financial, and I think the second one, which was career, and then I didn't do any more. And then the next day I did a few more, and then the next day I did a few more, and I think a week later I did another one until I actually completed it, right? So it's not something you have to go away and do straight away. Something else I do want to tell you is, and I know we've taken longer than this, most of us struggle with focus of doing stuff for more than 20 minutes, right? So if you're doing an exercise where you're writing something down, just give yourself 20, 25 minutes to do it, get up and then walk around before you come back and do it again, right? Allow your brain to assimilate the information and go from there.
Cool.
Okay. So, and then you're telling people that,
Well,
yeah,
that's
there you
it. So
go.
we've finished. Thank you. I hope everyone loved the information. And remember, this is just the beginning of the process. This is just the start, and you can go over it as many times as you need to get some clarity. And you might just start with one area and then build on it. But the key is to start, and then also to plug into the accountability side of it as well. So I will be talking to some of you more often than this, but for the people that just monthly is enough, this is our next goal setting session, which will using the accountability, so that we'll go through and we're going to expand on this so that you can start moving forward with it as well. So the recording will be available, so you can go back and watch it. I'll send out the slides as well, so you've got copies of all of that. But generally, I'm in touch with most people once a week because I find that's great. And we either do it as a group or we do it one-on-one, depending on what you need, so that you can start moving forward step by step. But I would just work out what's the most important thing in your life right now that you want to work on, like what is the most important thing for you, and prioritize that, and then work on that, and we can help you with it. So we might just finish recording and then we can chat a little bit. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jenny L. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Thank you, Ross. You did great.
Not a problem.
Absolutely loved it. So thank you, everyone.